Welcome to episode 89 of the Custom Apparel Startups podcast. My name is Mark Stevenson from ColDesi.
And this is Mark Vila from Coleman & Company. And we've got a guest today. Fantastic, really exciting. And you guys are going to love this because you're going to learn something like real from this episode today. And that's always my favorite thing.
Yeah, you're missing out on free advertising. I mean, we'll get right to the punchline. Folks, you are looking, if you're on YouTube with us, you are looking at Christina Nicholson from MediaMavenandMore.com. Say hi, Christina.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
All right. So before I let Christina kind of drop some wisdom on us to let us know how we can get how we can get some free advertising. I wanted to tell a story. I had about PR.
Okay.
So
all right.
I had this vision. PR is public relations, if you don't know. And I had this vision, frankly, of my dad, who spent his career in PR for companies that probably needed a lot of it, like American Cyanamid and Dow Chemical. And, you know, he was an old guy and wrote a lot. And PR was this stodgy kind of thing that big companies did in my head, right? And then I started working with a local client outside the custom T-shirt business, and had this thought about just letting media know locally that, you know, she had this great woodworking shop, and she taught people classes on how to do woodworking.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, within about 30 days of doing that, she was on TV twice. And got inquiries from newspapers all over Central Florida. So I'm like, this is something, because I could see like her sales and the analytics on her website go up. So then I started looking at PR for us, and at the same time I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, smartpassiveincome.com, and this lady came on and just blew me away with kind of the simple instructions and making it seem so easy to get free publicity. Like, this is the one thing that we don't talk about on the podcast. Like, we talk about marketing techniques and sales techniques and paid advertising, but honestly, we don't talk about anything free. Yeah. So that's how I found Christina Nicholson. And I'd love for you to just kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into doing PR and talking to people like us.
Perfect. Okay, so my background's in TV. I was a TV reporter and anchor for about 10 years. And when I was in TV, I was getting pitched all day, every day by publicists at PR agencies or by business owners who wanted that free publicity. They saw we would bring people in on the weekend morning shows, or that we were doing different news packages, and they wanted a piece of that pie. But the problem was that a lot of these publicists sending emails, they would send long, boring press releases, or when you would open up an email and read more than a sentence of what they sent, it was very overly promotional. It was like, give my client a free commercial, or give me a free commercial. This is why I'm amazing. This is why my client's amazing. Right. And it just, I mean, it's not the media's job to give you a free commercial. There was nothing newsworthy. There was no reason for us to even respond to these emails. So 9.8 out of 10 of them got deleted. Fast forward a few years.
That. Wait a minute. Because 98% of all statistics are completely made up.
That sounds right.
I like
that
it.
Might be made up, but you get the idea.
I do. Yeah, okay.
Because 9 out of 10, that's not enough. So I had to go with 9.8.
Sure.
So fast forward a couple of years, and I had 2 kids. And after having my second, I needed a more flexible schedule. Local news is not a job that warrants a flexible schedule.
You mentioned that you have some courses, and Mark's been taking them. I've not, but I'm sure that I will. But what are some of the steps? Can you give us like a little bit of like the
1, 2, 3?
Yeah, the 1, 2, 3, or an elevator pitch of like if you just somebody walks up to you and says, well, how do you do it? What are kind of some of the steps that you get into? And then I'm sure your courses and other information provide all the details on that. But
yeah, so I would say step 1, and Mark, you know this, like module 1. I mean, I go through some introduction about finding time to do this yourself, because a lot of people, you know, they're solopreneurs. They need to do this themselves. They can't hire an agency and pay $6,000 a month. So I tell them how they can actually block off time and do this like quick, easy, and effective. Because you don't want to, I mean, it's no good to learn something if you're not going to implement it. You're just wasting your time learning if you're not going to do anything with it. So I'm like a big stickler on like actually doing it. That's why, Mark, I asked you, said, oh, yeah.
12% of people that sign up and pay big money for a course actually take the course.
I mean, I know it's not a lot. And to me, it just blows my mind just because I'm always somebody like, if I'm going to invest in something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to see it through.
Somebody listening to this right now.
Yes.
Apparel equipment and did not complete their training course.
Yeah.
But we can go in there and we can see their name that you did 40% of
nutty.
it. You just
nutty.
spent $30,000.
Doesn't that drive you nuts?
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
The thing is because it oftentimes, and the people who will say what you teach does not work, you could probably find those people in your course and say, great, you also didn't even finish the course.
Yeah.
So how are you saying it doesn't work?
Which we call people out all the time.
Yeah.
That's our advantage is like, oh, you're having problems? Oh, I see you only did 2 lessons of your training. You need to go back.
No,
and finish.
that's so true. I'm in a YouTube course right now, and somebody just posted in the Facebook group, this is the least engaged Facebook group of any course I've been in. And then somebody commented, have you ever posted in here before? And they were like, no, this is my first time.
So anyway,
great.
Back to the question.
Yeah.
What kind
I know,
of
we digress. Okay,
Yeah,
so step 1, like in module 1, I talk about your personal brand. Like if somebody is going to put you on TV or quote you, we have to know who you are. You have to be building a personal brand. Like gone are the days of I am hiding behind the scenes because people do business with people. So you need to be known as an expert in your industry. There is a reason that Kim Kardashian is selling out of perfume that is only sold online. Like people cannot smell the perfume because you can only buy it online and she sells out all the time. That is because of her personal brand. So you need to be branding yourself as an expert in your industry. And then we'll work on pitching the media, which is step 2. Because if you, Mark, if you pitch me and you say, I have a great solution for stay-at-home moms who want to get back into work and they want something to do from home. It's designing a custom t-shirts and making these for, other people locally, whatever it is.
Yep.
And then I go to Google you and I search you or I looked at your. So now I can't even imagine what it is, but that you need to see something 7 or 8 times before you like convert to take the steps to buy it. Now it's probably so much more just because of all the content that we get. So you can't just get that publicity, think you've made it and call it.
Our customers that are listening out there is I really think that personal brand is a big deal because a lot of our customers, especially the work from home kind, they don't put themselves out there. When, for example, like we do success stories on our customers and we've put over 30,000 people in business in the history of the company. And you would not believe how hard it is for us to get somebody to do a success story. Like all I need you to do is answer these 5 questions, take a couple of pictures, and I will send it out to between 60 and 100,000 people. And I will put it on my website and I will pay for a press release to send it out.
Mark, you're killing me with that. Like that is so annoying to me that people don't take 5 minutes to do that.
So here's the thing is, a lot of them are shy.
Yeah,
or a lot of them,
that's the biggest thing.
They don't want it to be about them. But I can see just from what you're talking about that, at least at some level, they're gonna like the company, BlackRock Investments doesn't go on to CNBC to do a news story. It's the owner.
Yeah.
The entire Giants football team does not go on SportsCenter. It's the guy with the name, right, that goes on. So it's got to be the same thing for you guys out there and do however you want to do your personal brand, whether or not it's do a profile of how you started the business on your website, with a picture, participate with people like us where you can get your story out there and have something else to point to. But I can see that as like a stumbling block or at least a big first step for the people that we sell to.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is people, they either don't feel like they're worthy of it, like they don't feel like they're ready because they think that because they see somebody on TV or they're quoted in the paper or online that, oh, they must be so far ahead of me. I'm not ready for that. I'm not worthy of that. That's not the case. That's what grows your business. Like, people can't do business with you if they don't know about you. So it's getting on TV that will build your business. It's like you're doing this backwards. You think you need to build your business to get on TV. No, you need to be on TV to build your business so people get to know about you.
And then you're right to your third point about profiting from all of that. You know, what I've seen in the past is you get the big spike in traffic. So somebody sees the story, and then maybe later that day, even if they read it in a magazine or see it on TV, wherever it is, they'll see it, and you get a big spike in traffic like we do when we do PR. And then you know, maybe a couple of extra sales, and then nothing happens because you're right, people forget about you immediately. So the great part about getting video done by a TV crew or getting published by a magazine or a newspaper or whatever it is just like you said, you get to cut that up and reuse it, and you get to talk about it. And you can also use that to inspire other similar outlets to do the same thing, right?
Oh yeah, because when other people see that you're earning media exposure, the perception changes. They're like, "Oh my gosh, that person was on TV. They must be a big deal." And it's not just, you know, potential customers that are seeing that. It's also other people in the community, other people who maybe know people in media. So then people are coming to you. So at first you're doing a lot of pitching, but then you're landing stuff, and then you keep promoting the stuff that you've landed. Eventually people are going to come to you. Like, do you think Gary Vaynerchuk or Oprah, do you think they pitched themselves at this point? No. But at the beginning, they did. So you really just have to act as your own publicist. And I know it's uncomfortable, and I know it's going out of your comfort zone, but to build a business, that's what you have to do. You can't just do all of the fun stuff all the time. And then once you get out of your comfort zone a couple of times and start doing this, you actually start to like it. The only reason you don't like it right now is because you're not good at it, and you're not good at it because you're not doing it.
Yeah,
so if you just do it a little bit more, you'll like it.
And when I say, like, the title of the episode is you're missing out on free advertising, right? It's not really free because you're putting in a lot, you're putting in effort, right? So
yeah, your time.
Your hours and your planning, and you're putting yourself out there. But I mean, the results can be incredible. And really that's what made me think of bringing you on, Christina, is like, I know that there's a couple of places that we have sold to in the past in every city that could tell a great story and be an expert and get the coverage that could, you know, bump them up a notch.
Yeah, and I'm trying. I always, in this podcast, one of the things I always say that I always say this, and I always say it.
You do,
but because I always say that.
You know what you always say?
I do always say it. Yeah. That what drives me crazy in podcasts is I listen to marketing podcasts and sales podcasts and all this stuff, and everyone has these great high level ideas, and then I'm like, great, not practical at all because I can't think of how to relate this at all to my business. Like, what you've told me is like, like you sign up for an email software, and then you get people to sign up, and then you send them 6 advertisements, and then they buy something, and that's the plan. And I'm like, okay, how do I get people on my list? You know, so I'm really trying to think of what is an actual angle that if you're a t-shirt shop, you could pitch. And so I've got a couple that I've been thinking of, you know, and one is the one that you guys mentioned is maybe you're doing something for a local, like a mission group of kids. And are you saying that you might go to your client who is this church and say, you know what, I think this is a real interesting story. I talk to people in the local news, or the local, you know, like the local, they may have like a local online blog or a website that's popular. And I would like to talk with them about your mission group and pitch it to them and see if they'll be on the news.
What do you think
is
about that?
Is that something that you might do?
Yes, so that's good because local news, they like those local community stories.
Okay.
But like, what are we talking about here? Like, do they have an event coming up? Do they have a fundraiser? I mean, we can't just bring them on and talk about them to talk about them. There has to be a reason.
Like they're going to be flying to Croatia for 6 weeks.
That's a good pick.
Right?
Croatia.
Okay,
Like,
that's
is
a
that
good reason to come on the news and do a story. And I suggest that while you're doing that story, they're all wearing their shirts. And
Yep.
they say in the interview, oh yeah, and so-and-so made these shirts for us. You can get your own. Here's a link. Because when you are booking these, and I always talk about TV just because that's my background. When you are booking these TV segments, you are giving them talking points. You want the host or the anchor and the producer to know, like, you want to make their job easier. So you're like, okay, this is what we can talk about. These are some things you can throw up on the screen. If people want to buy shirts to support us, like, I don't know, 20% goes back to our mission or whatever, use this link, and they put that on the screen. But they're going to earn that coverage to talk about their upcoming trip, to talk about what they're doing. But while they're there, they're going to say, oh, and do you love our shirts? We got these made by so-and-so. And then if it's a newspaper article, for example, a photographer will come out, they'll take pictures, or you can supply a picture of everybody in the shirts, and you can say the shirts are provided by so-and-so, and that's how you get the coverage for something like that.
Okay. Now, all right. I like
That's
that.
good.
That's very practical. So if you find something that seems like it's an interesting story and you're making apparel for that event, try to be the coordinator between news media, whether it's online or TV, wherever you're starting to make connections as you're trying to make these contacts. Because I gather you could just say, yeah, I have a contact of somebody at the news station, or like tbo.com or something like that, which is like a local, newspaper converted to online, and try to make that coordination. The other thing that I was thinking of that could be a practical idea was, what if we went with the pitch, like you contacted a local station or a local website or whatever it would be, and say, like, custom t-shirts are hot right now. It's the hottest thing. Everyone wants a custom t-shirt. What I know I'm an expert in this industry because nobody knows how to pick sizing for a t-shirt. You ask somebody what size t-shirt they are, and all of a sudden they just like turn into like just blabbering. They have no idea.
And there's tiers. There's usually tiers.
I'm a small if it's like
And this
this
one
kind of
time,
shirt,
yeah.
but it's an extra large. So maybe you can
I'm a Leslie. That's my size.
You could start by posting on, say, your social media platforms all about that. So you can write little articles, how to pick a size t-shirt. You can make a video, how to do that. And you make yourself an expert on how to pick the right t-shirt. Then you
100%.
to the local news to say, listen, I want to teach people how to do this. I've got this great information. You can see links to me online where I talk about this. I think that this is really interesting and it's worthy of talking about, and people are going to like this piece if you put it on your station. And then hopefully that piece and your expertise are good enough that somebody says, you know what, that actually is an interesting story.
Let's go to the pro. What do we think about that?
Yeah, nope, I like it. Like, I like setting yourself up as an expert in your industry. So if you want to be the fashion expert, if you want to be the t-shirt expert, whatever it is, I think because we're talking about a t-shirt business, you have both that expertise that you just touched on, and you have the product. So I'm thinking too, like you could use so many different angles. I mean, you guys have, I don't know if people there do like that you work with do like one-offs. So, like if it's Valentine's Day or on spring break, we'll use spring break as an example, because I know like a lot of people go to Disney, and then all the families, they're all wearing their matching custom Disney shirt.
Family trip.
So, it's like family trip shirt ideas, and you come in for your segment, you have 5 different designs for family trip ideas. If you want to sell on a bigger scale to like a whole corporation or a team or people who work at business together, it's like, let's make the shirts fun, like these are clever things. So it's not like just a boring shirt with a logo like people have been doing for years. Because I'm sure you have some people who have like really fun designs and cool, unique things or fun sayings. So it's like how to make work more fun with custom t-shirts. Here are 5 ideas. I mean, it's really, and like I said, it's the hardest part, just coming up with these different timely ideas to pitch. But as a custom t-shirt designer and store owner, you have both the expertise and the product. So you have 2 different angles that you can always be using. And then you also have the whole business thing too, like how to start a business from home, how to be your own boss, how to work from home with kids part-time. I mean, you have, depending on who the person is, you have so many different angles that you could use as well.
Yeah. Got it. And that made me think of one more. if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So the next one I had is possibly, all right, like
If there's
people love making.
you go into a bar.
You go into a bar.
No.
There's people love making their own shirts, right? Like these Cricut and these silhouette machines. I'm sure you know somebody who owns one. Everyone's got a friend or a cousin or something.
Scrapbooking.
Yeah. And they use them for scrapbooking, use it for making t-shirts, Yeti mugs, all this stuff. So all right, let me back it up a second. Our customers, how to use those machines because they have commercial grade of that type of equipment. It's the same type of equipment. It's just commercial grade.
Right.
It costs $2,000 instead of $300.
Right.
So my thought is you could make a pitch to say, listen, people love making their own shirts. Billions of people own these little Cricut machines across the world.
Yeah.
In our city, there probably is 30,000 people. If you guys published an article on how to use this machine to make a t-shirt or to make a mug, then I could come on here and I could provide you guys with some funny sayings, some interesting things, some designs to teach people how to do it, and actually go online and show people, and you'll immediately capture the attention of all the people who own these little machines. And the owners of these businesses might think, well, I don't want to teach people how to do what I do. And my thought is, well, they're already doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you're not giving away any secret sauce.
So what do you think about that kind of an angle, Christina?
I think that would be good for like something that's more specific, like a trade outlet, like people who are into crafting. I mean, like if you go to Joann Fabrics, you have all those magazines there.
Yeah.
Something like that would be
Okay.
good. Yeah, so I think stuff like that would be good for trades. Or if you are niche, like if you're designing t-shirts like only for people in nonprofits, like there are tons of nonprofit websites and nonprofit magazines, I'm sure, that you could pitch to with that specific angle. So don't just think like traditional media, like go niched and trade. I have clients who are doctors. So like we focus just on like certain hospital outlets. It's only for people in the hospital industry and in the health industry. Who want to read up on each other and see what their competitors are doing. So focus on traditional, yes, to like reach the masses, but also focus on the trade outlets to get super specific if you are catering to just a certain amount of people or a specific kind of person.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's kind of what we do on a very disorganized and sporadic way for ColDesi.
And I like that then. So you could be just mentioning doctors. You could talk about like picking go to a trade publication for doctors and nurses and medical employees and try to go in on an angle of how to decorate scrubs or how to paint, something like that. So,
I actually saw, I don't know if you fellas watch The Real Housewives, but there was recently an episode of The Real Housewives and they did like a fashion show and they did scrubs that looked like superhero costumes. Like they totally redid them.
Oh,
and
that's great.
I actually saw that on Instagram.
Sure you did.
I did.
You can say you watch Real Housewives. No one but me is going to judge you.
No shame. There's no shame here in the housewife game, Mark.
Oh,
but yeah, but that's a great example because it's something different and it's unique. And I mean, scrubs, they're all the same. So if you do, a different take on scrubs, then, you could use that to target the trades.
Gosh, I like this a lot. I think that we've given our listeners a huge amount of things to think about.
Yeah.
But I know that something you also always say is that there should be some action takeaways.
Yep.
And I want to think of a few, and then Christina, I want you to, because I am taking your course on kind of like personal branding and getting my PR game up there. So naturally, so I can apply it to what I do here at ColDesi.
Yep.
And so what I like to do is let's do some takeaways, and then Christina will get you to kind of talk about your course and how people might want to interact with you going forward. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
What do you think?
So I like that. I love takeaways and action and homework, things like that.
Now, listen, I want you to tell Amy Porterfield that I perpetually feel bad because I download 100% of her, documents that you're supposed to do, her worksheets. I never finish a single one. So I hope our listeners are a little bit better than I am. That's what I really hope for.
Well, I think some initial practical things you could do, besides obviously what you'll finish with Christina and talking about your course and how to interact with you, and maybe that might be the perfect solution for some people. But one thing that I think that you could do would be, for one, make sure you kind of go back to other podcasts where we talk about starting your business and your brand and things of that nature, and kind of make sure you have a definition for who you are and who your company is, right? So make sure you like start from scratch there,
Yep.
you know, and just say, okay, I focus on this type of apparel. This is my personality, you know, and whatever it might be, you know, it could be you're edgy and you work with that. It could be very, very corporate. It could be cheer and loud.
And we've
bling,
talked about that a bunch.
Yeah, we've talked about that a bunch. So that's like your first step. And then your next step would be you could start brainstorming of things you could be an expert on. So picking the right shirt, picking good designs, what's hot in fashion, you know, things like that. And then further from that, maybe start looking at researching either publications that might be in your niche, if you have a niche, and also local news, local websites, different things like that. If there's a newspaper, do they have a website as well? And try to find where some of those PR contacts might be. So those are a few steps you can start doing, and then you could start creating yourself a little bit of content online, like writing little articles on your website. Establish a base. And then at that point in time, you're building up the practice and the confidence that by the time somebody asks you, well, are you an expert in apparel? You can say, oh, I mean, I've written like this bunch of these blog posts and I've done a bunch of these videos, and I really feel like I'm the face of apparel.
I've made 1,000 shirts.
Yeah.
So,
and so I think just like building up a base to prepare yourself can be a great place to start.
I like that. Okay, Christina.
Yes. I think those were great takeaways. I think just to piggyback off of what you said, always start local. You're more newsworthy where you are local because you're that local entrepreneur. You're that local business person. So start local with where you are. That's a great idea. And then another thing that came to mind, Mark, when you were speaking was jump on the fashion trends. Like I have a client who does glasses. And so if any celebrities are wearing glasses, we jump on that. You know, like I think it was the Oscars last year. A lot of them were wearing glasses, and like I think a lot of them were fake glasses. It was like an accessory. Mm-hmm. And so we jumped on it like, oh, glasses are trendy. They're an accessory. Here are some from this website, you know, that are like super unique or just like the ones Meghan Markle was wearing or whatever. So pay attention to if celebrities are being photographed in like custom t-shirts or cool graphic t-shirts, because that could be like a fashion trend that you get coverage for.
I like that.
Okay. So do you want me to tell people where to find me?
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. I'm on social. I'm pretty social on social. I don't treat it like a billboard. I actually talk back to you. So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Christina All Day. And then, like the Marks said, the website's mediamavenandmore.com. And I do have a freebie. I can give everybody listening access to a free 3-day video class. Day 1, we teach you how to pitch the media. Day 2, to earn publicity. And day 3 is to turn it into profit. And you can get that at pitchpublicityprofit.com.
Cool. Well, if you'll send me the URLs and everything for that, we'll put it in the show notes.
Yes.
So
awesome.
It will live forever.
So then the next homework and takeaway is you should just do that.
Do those things.
Yeah. I mean,
it's 3 days, 3 videos, super easy. I actually share, and you should totally do it because here I'm going to make it better. I actually share the exact pitch word for word that led to a local woman, mother of 5, working part-time as a dietitian, led to her getting coverage on local TV in San Diego. She literally sent the pitch on Monday, and she was on air live for a 5-minute segment on Wednesday morning. And I share that exact pitch word for word. Fantastic. In Pitch Publicity Profit, so you can get that too.
That's great. I know because you just described the kind of thing that a lot of our customers are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is why this is just a fact of the matter is that local news is not known for being the most interesting thing in the world to consume. Right? I mean, they are looking for things to talk about. There was
a supermarket opening just the other day.
No, they go and I mean, they literally cover cats in trees, you know? Okay. So, and it's not an insult to that, but what it is that they're trying to find local things to talk about.
Yeah.
And there is always something bad for them to talk about, a car accident or something like that. So when you give them the opportunity to talk about something different and interesting, and they want these fun little segments to put on, like you're actually like you mentioned, 100 people might come to you to try to pitch to get into that little segment. You're going to pick 2.
Yeah.
And so if you make something interesting enough, they're going to need it. And the smaller town that you're in, the probably better of a chance you've got of making something happen.
Yeah.
That's true, because there's less competition.
Don't be the 9.8. Okay. Thank you very much, Christina Nicholson from MediaMavenandMore.com. It was fun. It was a pleasure. It was educational. And look for the show notes, and we'll have links to all those goodies that you talked about.
Yep. So that's at customapparelstartups.com. Find this episode.
Yep.
And then you click on the link there, and you'll see all the notes if you haven't done that before. You'll find it on YouTube. All this type of things. You'll find all the links everywhere for this stuff. But make sure you go into the show notes, because you're going to get a free course, which is awesome. It's going to teach you something useful how to do, and you should just do that. I mean, that's it.
Okay, guys, this has been Mark Stevenson from ColDesi
and Mark Vila from Coleman & Company.
You guys have a great business.